sex positivity manifest itself in your own life?
And I feel like I came to sex positivity after having sex. Like when I started having sex, I definitely wasn't in that mindset. I was very much in the mindset of like, this is a piece of college that I should have done.
Where does that come from?
Movies and television and just like, I feel like it's everywhere. Like I feel like it's very prevalent in this culture that like in college you just have sex, and I really didn't have sex in college. So when I was in this relationship, because it was not a traditional relationship, I felt like sex was what it was about, and I really honestly felt like that was what that relationship was. That was what was expected of me. I felt like once you gave up your virginity, it was like anytime they wanted it. The dialogue about sex was not something I did, so I just had a lot of sex, a lot of really awful sexual experiences, and good ones, but also like some really bad ones that like kind of haunt me, and I realized that this all could have been prevented. I really feel like sex is a good thing when it's done for the right reasons, and I feel like that has changed the way that I see myself, and that's good. Because I'm a lusty redhead.
I mean, you're in a relationship, right? So it's a little different.
No, but still, even sex positivity in a relationship, I was in a relationship before with someone who was raised very sex negative. It caused a dynamic rift in our relationship. You know, there are a lot of things that I fault my parents for, but one of the things that they were great about is having sex be out there and open. I never saw my parents having sex or anything like that, but it was never one of those discussions that we didn't have. In my relationship that I'm in now, I've learned from the past, and I know that especially if you're wanting to have a successful long-term relationship, you still have to be sex positive. You still have to be willing to talk about what you want and what you don't want and what you're willing to give way on.
For me, sex positivity in my own life is about being comfortable with myself as a sexual being. There are people in my life who are going to have a problem with that, and part of sex positivity is being able to, for me, is being able to say, okay, you have a problem with it, that's fine. If that is a reason enough for you to stop associating with me, then go ahead, stop associating with me, because that's a part of who I am as a person. And that's part of sex positivity, owning that part of who you are.
In order to be sex positive, you're gonna have to talk about the repercussions of sex as well. I was in a relationship that was somewhat oppressive sexually, and so that caused me to go outside of my relationship for the things that I needed to fulfill me sexually. And at the time, I was very sex negative in myself, and I was doing unsafe things, and it led to me becoming HIV positive. After that happened, and after coming to the realization, you know, that obviously what I was doing before was unsafe, and I needed to become better educated. What it is about now is honesty in sex. I am HIV positive. I got tested. I go to a doctor. I have great medication that keeps me at an undetectable viral load. I can have sexual relationships and be safe in them and not have to worry about transmitting. But sex positivity for me in that is just being healthy about sex now. There are all different kinds of ways that we can be sex positive, and yours is to be as wild and kinky as you want, but to know what's going into it and know who you're interacting with.
Exactly.
Take it from me, be safe about it, because, you know, otherwise you are going to have something that you have to deal with for the rest of your life.
If someone is being unsafe in their sexual activity, does being sex positive affect in any way the way that you deal with the fact that you found out that they were being unsafe, especially as someone who's HIV positive?
If you're having unsafe sex, you're gonna get a lecture from me, you know, because I learned the hard way. HIV is at a state today to where it is very treatable, you know, the stigma is going away, and I'm very thankful for that personally, but it doesn't mean that I don't have to take medication every day of my life. And
for the rest of your life.
Exactly. And you know, so if you're being unsafe, and as a sex positive person as I am, I'm going to tell you what my experience is.
Right. Being sex positive doesn't necessarily mean that you're okay with every sexual practice. It just means that you're okay with talking about it.
Exactly.
Right? That you're okay with having a conversation and saying, are you sure you know this person? Do you have safety measures in place to protect yourself? Right? Those are important questions. In a sex negative culture, you feel afraid to ask.
Right.
Right? Because you're saying it's still about sex, so it's still like really taboo, right? But it's one thing where it's like you find out that one of your friends is doing something unsafe, you have the capacity and the confidence to be able to say, okay, I'm not afraid to talk about this with you.